I'm Kurt Shimmers. Every day, fortunes are gained and lost in the financial markets. News, trends, and even geopolitical events shape your financial landscape. Join me and my expert guests right now on Traders Nation. Welcome. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Don and I got a jam-packed show, man. Tom Gandolfi's with us here today. He's founder and CEO of Three Bridges Financial Group. We're going to be talking with him about all the tariffs that are flying around everywhere. And it looks like the U.S. is going to be lifting those steel and aluminum tariffs with Canada and Mexico. So we're going to find out what's going on there. Plus, China's going to be in all of that mix. You can count on that. Plus, Don and I are remaining focused on towers and data storage. There's a reason for that. Some of these are making 52-week highs, and there's other things going on with them. So you're not going to want to miss that. Guests, stocks, and a whole lot more. Stay tuned. Right here, we'll be right back.
Traders Nation, if you promise not to tune out, we promise not to talk about you while you're gone. Traders Nation. Traders Nation. Get Pro Online DVD Trader today. Whether you're an experienced trader or just beginning, you'll improve your skills dramatically. Click on the Knowledge Center button to order your copy today. Traders Nation, delivering what you want when you want it. Traders Nation. Traders Nation. Live.
It's on the whole time.
Bringing traders coverage of the markets, solid trading strategies, potential hot stock movers, world-class guests, informative callers, and unsurpassed market chatter for traders to take all the way to the bank.
You guys got some great stuff coming out. I mean, the great station.
Stay on top.
This is always changing. It's always fresh. Something new.
Stay tuned in. Traders Nation.
There's always something to look forward to.
Clearly, you can hear the difference. Traders Nation. It's the Traders Nation Network.
Hi, I'm Steve Forbes. You're watching Traders Nation.
Welcome back. You are tuned into Traders Nation. Hey, Don, real quickly, I want everyone to know about Pro Online Trader DVD. It's our best-selling DVD since way back when, in the mid-2000s. You can learn about shortened stocks, candlesticks, charts, signals, patterns, resistance, support. We're going to be talking a little bit about that support and resistance with one of our charts here today, Don. And you asked, well, where can I get a copy, right, Don? Right?
That's it.
Yeah. Over at tradersnation.com, man. That's the only place you can get it. $29.95 plus shipping and handling. We'll get it out to you priority. In a couple days, you can like pop this thing in and the world of knowledge is going to come to you. Get a copy today, tradersnation.com. Click on that more button and we'll make sure that you are taken care of, right, Tom? So
can't beat it.
No, you really can't. And listen to some of the testimonials over there too, by the way. All right, some really good ones, unsolicited from our callers nationwide back in the day. Don, listen, towers are on our list here today. Data centers are on our list here today. I'm looking at all these great stocks. We got some updates that are going on. Some of these are creating new 52-week highs once again, Don. I mean, how much can we pound the table on these 52-week higher, Don?
Well, yes, you're right. The 52-week high on just about all of them. CCI, AMT, SBAC, they're the leaders in the business. And as we've talked about now, and don't forget, we've been following these tower companies now for a long time, and I'm sure some of our viewer and listeners out there might have sat back at some point and said, geez, what are they talking about, towers? Well, for many of these companies, these tower companies are the only game in town. So if you want to carry traffic on your network, these are the companies you have to interface with. And the barrier of entry is high. So American Tower, who's a worldwide company, is down, 80 cents today. CCI, Crown Castle, is trading down 72 cents. And SBAC, the other big one we follow, the Boca Raton-based company, it's up half a buck today.
Yeah.
But if you glance over at the 52-week high on these stocks, they're all approaching or right at the 52-week highs.
Yes.
And what's gone on here is the mainstream media now has finally discovered that in the telecom business, somebody has to carry the traffic. It's almost like the cloud storage business, where everybody is storing in the cloud, or the data centers we cover. And so in the tower business, they're right here. And these are two of the businesses that we've been focused on for a long time. We're going to cover data centers today as well.
Yeah.
But these tower companies have been screaming.
They certainly have. And Don, where have the pundits been? Okay.
Well,
yeah, where have they been? All of our towers, while they're intraday, a little bit on the lower side, it doesn't matter. Ours are up since we spoke about them last. Let's talk about it. AMT, American Tower, currently trading at $211.66 here today. It's resting right here after it's created another 52-week high, Don. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, these are all dividend plays too, by the way. Right? REITs and dividend play. AMT's got a dividend coming up here in July 18th of about 92 cents a share. Okay? So they're resting at this point. They continue to make these 52-week highs, like Don was saying. And certainly AMT has done that, Don. American Tower is AMT is the phonics for that one, Don.
Yeah. Well, American Tower, yes, AMT. That they're the leader in the business. They're worldwide, and they've just made an acquisition in Africa.
Yeah.
And you can see the growth because actually the U.S. is not the fastest growing market for cellular.
Sure.
So AMT makes this move in Africa, and we have a stock that's approaching, I guess the 52-week high on this is 213, almost 214, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And so it's trading in here at 212.
Right.
And these stocks are resilient as well. On down days, you don't see a tremendous amount of selling in these stocks, and that's one of the reasons we focused on them. These stocks really, I won't say they're immune to volatility because obviously any stock that goes up can go down. But these companies these stocks have been holding up well.
Certainly.
Then we move on and we talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, Don, because I wanted to touch on something that you said, because certainly America is doing very well and has a network in place, but not the fastest growing area, because we have what's called saturation, right? The market is saturated. A lot of these infrastructures and technologies are in place, but you get countries like certain parts of Africa, Brazil, even India, Don, where there's growth areas that have tremendous growth potential in these areas. They're not as saturated as the United States are, and this is why companies like AMT are coming into play, because they're international, right? They're not just domestic only. They're international, so there's a lot of potential areas internationally around the globe for opportunities for AMT to come in and fill some of that need when it comes to growth, all right? AMT, American Tower. CCI, Don?
Well, Crown Castle, that's a domestic company. Now, they're not involved internationally. But even having said that, Crown Castle has done very well. This is the stock, Crown Castle, that over the past 5 years, this stock is up 75%.
Huge.
So you talk about buy and hold.
Yeah.
CCI, Crown Castle, that's a Texas company, pays a dividend. It's a real estate investment trust. 52-week high is 134, and I'll call it 135. Stock's a buck off.
Yeah.
And they're all taking a breather today. The market is up fractionally. It's up about 50 points right now on the Dow.
Right.
NASDAQ is just briefly red. It's down about 7 points right now. But if you take a look at these tower companies, and what I want to point out, too, on these tower companies is that, and I can't stress this enough, the barrier of entry to get into this business is high.
Totally.
Because, when American Tower and SBAC and Crown Castle, CCI, when they get a customer and they have a tower, their incremental add-ons cost them essentially nothing.
Right.
Because the tower is already there.
Yep.
And we have 5G now ramping up, where they're going to be carrying a lot of the 5G traffic as the volumes expand. So they're in the sweet spot in the telecom business, these tower companies. So
they totally are.
There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
And I don't see a bunch of companies coming into this business unless, of course, they want to step up and acquire these companies.
Absolutely, Don. So here's the thing. So like Don says, the infrastructure's in place. 5G comes into play. That's just a snap-on technology to an infrastructure that's already there, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Barrier of entry, very high, like Don said. Where are you going to buy the land to run coast to coast? It's like a railroad, right? You're not going to buy it and lay track. You're not going to buy it and lay wire. This is a very difficult area to get into. The only way really to get in is to buy your way into something that's already existing, right? And then lastly, too, Don, so let's bring the charts up for everyone to see. Bring those charts up. So CCI, you can look, just like AMT and SBAC, a little bit down today, but it's off those 52-week highs that they just recently made as recent as yesterday's trading session. So it's off today. Even though it's a little bit down today intraday, Don, this stock, CCI, is up $7 since we spoke about it last, Don, and it gets better. There's a dividend coming up on this, about $1.12, that's going to be coming up here July 13th. Don, your thoughts?
Oh, I missed something this morning. This one got by me. American Tower is making a $1.85 billion acquisition in Africa. They're buying Eaton, E-A-T-O-N.
Oh.
And I just came across the wire this morning. I missed this one. So this is going to be almost a $2 billion acquisition.
Sure.
in Africa.
Yeah.
This is an add-on to the deal they just did in Africa several weeks ago.
Wow.
And so this Boston-based AMT now, you can see, as I said at the outset of the show,
sure,
that the U.S. is not the fastest-growing markets here for these cellular companies.
Right.
So these companies are making some acquisitions. American Tower now, this is their second one. We'll call it a bolt-on acquisition.
There you go.
That's there we go.
Listen, if you're dominant in a certain area, find another market. You can get market share and become dominant in that area too. Why not, Don? Right?
That's it.
You don't have to be dominant just domestically. All right. Tom Gandolfi is going to be coming up next with here today. We're going to be talking about the tariffs that are flying all the way around. Some are being loosened up. Stay tuned to Traders Nation. We'll be right back.
Traders Nation salutes America. Stay strong, stay proud, and stay in the green with us. Traders Nation live, bold, and packed for profit every weekday morning.
Traders Nation, live, bold, and packed for profit. Sign up today for our weekly HTML newsletter and check out the Traders Nation store for products to enhance your stock trading day. Traders Nation, what you want, when you want it. Traders Nation.
Hey, Jeff Carlisa here from 38 Special, and we're rocking it up right here with Traders Nation.
Welcome back. You are tuning in to Traders Nation. My pleasure to have with us here today Tom Gandolfi. He's founder and CEO of Three Bridges Financial Group. Tom, welcome to Traders Nation. How are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me today.
You're more than welcome. So listen, with all the tariffs flying around, it looks as if the United States is going to be lifting the steel and aluminum tariffs on Canada and Mexico. What's going on there?
I think we've got a few different things happening. It's certainly in our interest to get the USMC deal done, and I think one component to this is probably Trump extending somewhat of an olive branch to try to get Canada and Mexico of the mindset that we do want to do a deal with them.
Sure.
At the same time, I think it's probably intertwined and interlaced with what's going on with China.
Okay, so certainly it is good for all three of our countries that get that deal through, and certainly and Mexico and Canada certainly favors the lifting of the steel and the aluminum at this point. So that would kind of clear the path to get the USMC done, right?
I think so. I mean, that's what's happening. It's sort of entertaining to watch this. I mean, the Trump administration is fighting economic battles on a number of fronts at this point, and I think that getting USMC done is probably one of the cornerstone pieces that Trump has calculated that it's got to happen, and this is, I think, a move to get that happening.
Sure. And it doesn't say, because you mentioned China, because certainly Chinese were negotiating with the Chinese on trade and on another front, and that's a big deal also. Doesn't it kind of send the signal to the Chinese that we can do deals, we can do fair deals, what we feel is fair, and certainly these things can be negotiated and worked out. Isn't that a signal to the Chinese when it comes to trade deals?
I think it absolutely is. The trouble we have, though, is regardless of the signals that we send, China doesn't want a new deal.
Yeah.
China has had an extraordinary trade situation now for 30 or 40 years, and they've had a lot of advantages that other countries have not enjoyed in doing trade with the U.S., and they don't want to change the rules. So I don't know that, yes, I do agree with you that this should illustrate the fact that we can be reasonable and we're willing to make deals and compromise and bend and do things that are in the interest of both parties, but I don't know that China wants to do a deal that's in the interest of both parties, and I think that's the crux of the problem.
Yeah, well, China's got to realize this, that they've been getting a sweetheart deal for a long time. Like you said, literally decades, okay? They have to realize they have been getting a sweetheart deal, and at some point during that time, they also have to realize that this really good deal for us could end, and we're pretty much at that point. Can't they realize that?
Well, they probably realize it, but you know, the Chinese have a little different culture than we have over here in the U.S., and they're a little more of the show me or prove it mindset than we happen to be. We tend to trust before we verify, and the Chinese don't do things that way. So while they probably realize that they've enjoyed an extraordinary situation for a number of years, no one in the U.S. over that time period has proven that they've got the backbone to make China come to the table and make a more reasonable deal. So I think that's what this trade deal is about with regards to Trump and his tariffs. I think someone has to show the Chinese that we're serious, and that's what he's attempting to do.
Well, you know, Trump's always been a hawk when it comes to trade with China, has been since the 80s, and makes no bones about it. So certainly the Chinese also realize that. But we've got to be careful, though, don't we? I mean, we really have to tap dance, weaning them off the sweetheart deals that they have been getting, don't we? And that's where the power of negotiation comes in.
Absolutely. You know, I mentioned the cultural differences, and you know, saving face or maintaining honor, however you want to determine or word it, is really important to them, probably more so than it is here in our country. And we need to find a way to reach a deal with them that allows them to say that they won. Right. All right. And that's not easy to do when you've got Trump as president, because he likes to win too.
He totally does. So this, like you said, this is almost like a spectator sport, isn't it? Watch it. I mean, really, you sit back and you got popcorn, and you're like going, you're watching both sides acting and reacting to each other's commentary when it comes to the Chinese and the U.S. trade deals. All right, so let's go back over to the USMC, okay? So what does this mean? So let's say we get this passed. What's this mean for the United States and its workers, for American workers?
Well, you know, NAFTA has been a disaster, and it's been an unqualified disaster. I don't think you'll find many people that can defend it, at least not defend it successfully. And NAFTA is responsible for so many of the jobs and factories that were lost over the last 30 or 40 years, and USMC is a better option. But I do think Trump has made it quite clear that he'll only make a deal that's a good deal for us. And I think he does want it to be good for the other countries, but he's an America First guy, and USMC could certainly provide some of the benefits that NAFTA was supposed to have provided. And in fact, NAFTA did provide. The only problem is NAFTA provided benefits to countries that weren't the United States. So with a good USMC deal, I think that some of the jobs can come back. I think that manufacturing can be strengthened. And I think that it really is in the interest of all three countries to get something done that's beneficial for all three countries. You know, we've been sort of the big brother in NAFTA because we've got the largest economy, and Canada and Mexico have both benefited from our economic success, and I think it would behoove them to figure out sooner or later that if the U.S. is not successful economically, it'll trickle down and hurt them as well. So a deal that it is good for all three parties is certainly the target and the goal for everyone, I think.
Tom, it almost seems like our deals in the past have really been subsidies to the prosperity of other countries. And certainly we want good for them, but they should negotiate that instead of us giving that so we can have prosperity in our country. So there's got to be a way to where they have their organic prosperity, we have ours in all these deals. And I think President Trump's approach to our deals and trade deals with these countries have exactly that in mind versus the other way around. Your thoughts?
I agree. It's sort of referencing what I just mentioned a minute or two ago.
Yeah.
When you have a deal, if it's a trilateral deal like we've got with USMC, there's going to obviously be a strong partner in the deal, and in this particular case, it's the U.S. And each of the parties can benefit. I don't know that equally is the right terminology, but each of the parties can benefit. But if the cornerstone of the deal, which is the largest economy, doesn't do well, it's going to certainly affect the other economies. And Trump is trying to put us in a position where we finally take care of ourselves. You mentioned that so much of this has been subsidized or underwritten or however you want to put it with these other countries, and we've funded a lot of good in the world, and I don't mind doing that.
Right.
But we're reaching a point where some of the world's forgotten that we've done some of these things, and it's getting tough for us to do it. We've got a lot of national debt.
Yeah.
We've got immigration issues. I mean, we've got all kinds of problems, and it's time for something to work right for our country. And if it does, I suspect that we'll do as we have in the past, and we'll probably share in the prosperity.
Sure, absolutely. And we always have. It's in our good nature to do that. I mean, we always have. So I don't see why not. And certainly I think the rest of the world would want us to be in a good place because of our generosity. Absolutely. So the Democrats really kind of oppose USMC at this point. They're raising concerns about environmental and labor provisions. But listen, is this just a road stick? We're out of time. I wish we had more time. Getting in the way of the president, but we don't have time to answer that. Hey, Tom, where can we find you?
I'm in Three Bridges Financial Group. You can look on the web for us at 3bfg.com.
All right, Three Bridges Financial Group. Head on over there, Google today. Get some good information over at Tom's site. Tom, thanks for being with us today. Certainly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Good conversation. Bye-bye.
You're more than welcome. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. So far, so good. Thanks for staying with us. Great interview with Tom. God, Don, I wish we had more time, right?
Yeah.
Because, there's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts when it comes to these trade deals, and I think we got the right guy in president to make these deals happen. He's looking out for the best interest of America, and he's proven that, Don.
That's right.
Not only with his words, but what he's saying. That's why these countries like Mexico and Canada and China, they're having a difficult time with us because they're like, hey, this guy's serious. This guy's serious. We better get serious. They better. Well, I can tell you this much, Don. Any of these countries, they better have their game on when they come to the table to negotiate a deal with this presidency, Don.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
All right, data centers, Don. DLR,
data centers, yeah.
COR, and QTS all looking fantastic here today. Certainly want to talk about them. Tom, what's going on?
Well, data centers, look, if you're storing data in the cloud, welcome to data centers, and these are the guys that store the data worldwide. Some of their biggest customers are the who's who of the Fortune 1000 and, of course, many private companies. But having said that, if you take a look at the core, Digital Realty Trust, DLR, and QTS is the symbol on that.
Yeah.
These stocks are all approaching, believe it or not, again, their 52-week highs.
Yeah.
And this is another one, like the towers, you don't hear much about them.
You really don't. And they all have dividend plays, too. Wish we had more time, Don. Listen, do you own any stocks we talked about today?
No.
I don't either. These aren't buy-sell recommendations. Have a great day.